Very excited to be joined by Jeremy Loffredo, who is an investigative journalist and filmmaker based in New York. He has spent the past few months documented the explosion of settler violence in the West Bank and the increase of political and religious repression against Palestinians in occupied Jerusalem. Most recently, Loffredo spent time within the ranks of the Jewish-Israeli nationalists invading Gaza to establish Jewish settlements and blocking humanitarian aid for starving Palestinians at the Gaza border. The Israelis admitted to war crimes and clamored for genocide. So let us bring on to the show Jeremy Loffredo. Hi, Jeremy. How are you?
Hi, Katie. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for joining. So I'm going to play shortly a trailer for your latest documentary, but I want to ask you first how you began documenting what you've been documenting.
Sure. So I'm part of a few Israeli nationalist WhatsApp groups, and they said that they're going to begin going to the border. And I saw that they are organizing some shuttles from Tel Aviv and from Jerusalem down through the West Bank, picking up West Bank settlers at these settlements and driving them to the borders. It's called the Nitzana crossing, which is the border of Egypt, and the Krim Shalom border, which is the border with Egypt and Gaza. And so I, for many days, I took the shuttle with the settlers through the West Bank to the border. And once they began to, be comfortable with my face and, they saw me every day, that's when they began to be, very candid with me and explain how they actually feel about the war, explain, some things that they've done when they were reservists in Gaza. And it was when they got very comfortable with me is when I began documenting some really horrid stuff.
So you're based in New York and you joined this WhatsApp group and you see that they're going to be doing this. And at that point you go to Israel or you're already in Israel?
I was in New York at the time. I spent a month in Israel in November. I was back in New York and I saw this was happening. And I thought that joining these settlers and these extremists could yield some interesting results, and it did.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to look at a trailer of your latest film, which is the one that takes place basically at the border, people blocking aid in Gaza. Then we'll take a look at some clips and then we'll talk about some of your other videos.
The police man, the head commander, came to us and said, okay, you guys came and blocked. We don't want to fight. And he said to us, I'll just lock the gate. You guys don't need to stand in the sun. We got lollipops. We got watermelon from the police.
Lollipops and watermelon.
Yeah, watermelons, and was great with them.
So no food, no nothing.
No, they don't deserve it. What I care? Kill them. I don't care.
Do you trust Palestinians?
No, I know all about them. I don't trust them. I want them out of here.
What do you think should happen to Gaza?
I want to be civilized with Jews from Israel.
My unit was in charge of explosions. We blew up houses of terrorists, mosque, UN offices. I remember we got into some UN office that was in charge of helping families in Gaza that was affected by the war, and we destroyed it.
It speaks to the impunity with which these people operate, because he's just admitted to war crimes to you, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And it's just they're so candid about it because everyone his age serves in the military or is a reservist, and they're all doing similar things. This is something that he speaks to his friends about over a beer. It's not serious for him. But showing it to an international audience of people who are not Israeli, hearing him admit to such things like they're so normal is wild.
We give pastries for the people, for the soldiers, for the cops, for everybody. This is what we give to our people. This is really humanitarian, okay? They need to block the aid to Gaza. They need to block the gas to Gaza. Everything to block And this is what we do every week, 2, 3, 4 times a week.
And as the Bible says, this place is for us, it's promised for us, so they can starve to death to pay on the things that they've done to us on the 7th of October.
אני חושב שצריך, לא יודע, אני חושב שצריך כולם להיות מאוחדים ואנחנו צריכים, אנחנו צריך להיכנס חזרה לעזה ולהשתלט שם על המדינה, להשתלט שתהיה מדינה שלנו.
Bibi is a puppet of Biden, because we cleaned all Gaza, except in Rafiah. Why aren't we going in there? Because Biden asked us not to. That's the only reason. There's no reason not to.
How long were you there with them, by the way?
I was with them for about 8 or 9 days.
Were you scared at any points?
In the very beginning, it was a little scary just to be surrounded by these people at a very highly militarized zone near the border of Gaza, and I was alone. But as soon as they felt comfortable with me, it was just another day of doing those insane things with them.
Did you have to pretend to agree with them, or were they just willing to tell you what they thought?
I didn't pretend to agree. I did sometimes when I was interviewing someone and they would say something, I would nod my head
Like I'm doing, yeah.
to to signal that they can say whatever they want. But I would never tell them I agree with them explicitly. I was just there to I was a fly on the wall at first, and then once they became familiar with the fly on the wall is when I began talking to everyone.
And how easy was it for you to do this? I mean, are you Jewish? Were you able to just go in there? Were you able to because you were American? Tell us about that process.
My mother was Jewish, so technically I'm Jewish. But sometimes I don't practice.
Yeah.
I don't practice, but they would ask me. They would say, "Oh, like, can I speak to you for a few seconds on camera?" And the first question they would ask is, "Are you Jewish?" I would say, "Of course, yeah." And that's when I would get the green light. And that was numerous times that they would ask me that before saying yes or no to being interviewed by me.
How did you get interested in Israel as an issue?
When this first, so it was October 9th, right after this all started. I mean, I've been following it. I've been, alt media. I've been paying attention to the occupation of Palestine. But on October 8th or 9th, there was a protest here in New York. And I was asking people how they felt, what they think that should happen to Gaza, et cetera, et cetera. And they gave explicit calls for genocide. They were showing me pictures of parking lots saying this should be Gaza or it should be how it is now, except filled with Jews. And I noticed how candid and comfortable they were for calling for these horrible crimes. So I would think that the people who are actually at the Gaza border, not in New York City, were just as interesting and candid, and they were.
And so was it easy for you to get in? Like, were they suspicious of you in terms of booking your flight, or even like with El Al, that's the Israeli airline? Did you fly El Al? Like, how was the security?
I was in Israel and the West Bank for a month in November, and I did fly El Al. And one step into JFK Airport, which is here in New York, I was stopped by someone who worked for El Al, thick Israeli accent, and they went through my cell phone, they went through my messages, they went through my DMs on Instagram, they were Googling me. And I don't think that this is legal, but I was so scared, and I knew there was nothing actually incriminating on my cell phone that I let them do this. But then that was in New York. Once I got to Israel, it was fine. It's interesting. But this time I did not fly El Al because I had already come back. I, reported on settler violence in the West Bank and political and religious repression in occupied Jerusalem. I didn't want to give it a chance for El Al to stop me. So I flew with a Polish airline this time, and getting in the country was actually not that hard because I was flying not with their national airline.
Actually, let's take a look at that initial protest that you captured in New York City. I remember when this came out, so many people just cherry pick footage of people who they claim are anti-Semitic, and they'll show a Nazi symbol. It's not even clear whether
Mhm.
that's from a pro-Palestine rally. For all we know, it's not. And then they claim that this represents all supporters of Palestinian rights, and no one was showing the other side, like the hate coming from the other side. So here's just a clip from your longer video on this.
Fuck Palestine! Palestine to my dick!
What do you think the response should be from Netanyahu and the military to Gaza?
Kill all Palestinians! All of them! Not one left from the river to the sea, Palestine will be deceased! And Israel need to do like this. You see? Now Gaza. Like this. Gaza need to do like this. Or like this, but all this Jewish. Two options.
What do you think the response should be
What do you
to
mean?
Gaza?
We gotta wipe them off the fucking map. I'm
That's-
talking about every fucking flatten them like a parking lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, flatten them out once and for
there's
all. Just get rid of that.
nothing else you can do. They proved to us that there's nothing else you can do. We tried, and
We tried everything. It doesn't work. We have to wipe them flat off the fucking map, like a fucking parking lot.
I'm not stopping till all Arabs are wiped out.
I think now it's the time that we need to erase Gaza. There is people inside, our people inside, that kidnap, and now we need to kill all of them and free Israel. All of their belief is killing Jewish and killing and murder our people.
Flatten it. Flatten Gaza. That will be the last war in Gaza.
This will be.
Yes, it should be.
Now that one was actually more shocking to me than what you got in Israel, because I'm used to hearing Israelis say hateful things. But often in America, I mean, we even see this with Israeli politicians. They save their most hateful stuff for the Israeli audience. And then when they're speaking to an American audience, it's much more sugar coated. But that was
Of
not the
course.
case here.
Truly, I spent 1 hour with those people. I said, "Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?" I wasn't there all day. I wasn't there for multiple days. I didn't try a bunch of people. Like, they all believe this. They were all speaking like that. It was shocking for me that they were so willing to someone that they don't know, to say things like that, of course.